Hey, what's going on, everybody? So today is the day we are removing that large tree in our backyard, that one that's right up against our house. It's a cottonwood tree. It is 80 feet tall. It's massive. One of my other neighbors is gonna come over and he's gonna help us do this. He's a arborist. He's been doing it for 13 years. He is very good at his job, and we are so thankful he's gonna come over and show us how he takes down a tree the proper and safe way. So let's go outside and I'll talk a little bit more about what I'm going to do to prepare for my neighbor coming over, to prepare for the tree removal, and we'll go from there. So here's the tree in question. It's Trey's swinging tree. He loves this tree. We're going to find a new spot for that. You can see how big this tree is. Just massive. And the problem is there's so many limbs that have been cut down. You can see that hole right there, and the arborist said that that's the beginning of rot. So squirrels probably hollowed that out, he said, and all it does is allow for the tree to begin to rot, and as it rots it'll move inward. There's several of these limbs like that have been cut down and are not doing too well. You can see it just keeps going up, more of them. So there's the biggest hole, and there is actually some squirrels that currently live in that. So these are dead limbs at the top of that same limb with that big squirrel's nest. So what he said is that as that starts to die, it starts to slowly move down the limb. Then you get here to where that squirrel's nest is, and all you're asking for is a major problem. If this limb were to fall, it would likely fall right there, right on top of the house, and we do not want that. So look at our debris pile now. We'll be adding this huge tree to this debris pile. Let's go ahead and get started on cleaning up the yard and get that out of the way, and then we'll move on to the next project. So day one, we finished last night around 9:30 p.m. We spent about 6.5 hours yesterday working on this tree. It is amazing what he's able to do. He's gonna come back over in a few hours today, and we're gonna knock down the rest of it. I'll show you what's left. I have a couple buddies coming over as well to take some of the wood home. They're gonna split it with their log splitter here, load it up and take it home. As you can see behind me here, just a massive pile that Trey and I need to start cutting up real quick, and we're gonna try to get some of the littler stuff cut up and moved aside. That'll be the stuff I take to the wood dump later on. So it's gonna be another long day, but yeah, it should be good. So we got a lot of that chopped up, a lot of that cut up. We're just trying to get a lot of the smaller stuff taken care of. And my neighbor's back heading over here right now, and we're gonna start cutting down the rest of this big stuff here. We've still got to cut down the top of this one, and then we'll just start piecing this whole thing out, and then we'll be done. The cavalry has arrived. So we've decided we're going to use a come along, and we're just going to fell the whole thing that's left. Everything that's left, we're going to fell the whole thing and use the come along to direct it towards in between the playset and the shed, and hopefully that will work. So let's see if it works. So we're finished now. It took us about 12 hours to get the tree totally down like you're seeing it. This is a lot of work. I have a whole new respect for arborists. I mean, there's an art to that, and
impressive.
I was blown away, blown away. Now all we have left to do is finish cutting up all the logs. One of my good buddies, as you saw in the footage, he came and with his son, and they were able to cut up some and split the wood, and they took some of it home with them. So we're gonna cut it up, split what we can for firewood later, let it season it out, let it dry out for a while. Gather up all the small debris, take it to the tree dump or the wood dump, and be done with that. The huge stump is gonna take a while, so we're gonna let that dry for another week or so, just to lose a little bit of water and lighten up so we can roll it when we cut it. So
yeah, just seeing and feeling the thump of the branches fall, like the ones way up that we didn't even know were that big. It was just like, oh my gosh, if that had fallen on the house, that would have done some major damage. So I am feeling very good that that thing is down now. It was starting to rot a bit inside and hollow out, and that was scary because a big wind could take off some of those big branches. So I'm feeling great. They worked so hard, and I have, like you said, a whole new respect for for those guys and what they do with taking down trees.
So we're done now. We're done for the day. I'm done. Okay, so we got everything pretty much cleaned up. As you can see there, Amber, Trey, and I came out here and spent a few hours today. This is day 3. Spent a few hours today just cleaning up the yard. You know, remember, we want to make sure this is cleared out so our kids can still play. So here's what I could not move. So these are just too big for me to move. So in the next few days, we will get a bigger saw and we'll come back and chop these up into manageable pieces and roll them and try to get them on the log splitter. Cut those into 12 to 14 inch lengths and then throw them up on the log splitter, make some firewood, let it season out for a while. It's a lot of wood. A lot of wood. There's the wood we've already got cut, ready to go on the log splitter. It's a noticeable difference, I'll say that. And get ready for the pile of debris. Look at that thing. That's our debris pile now. I'll have to get a trailer and do a couple loads to the wood dump to get rid of that. This was a beast of a tree though. Our neighbor, like I said, he's an arborist, been doing it for 13 years. He didn't expect it to take as long as it did. It took us 12 hours to get it down over the course of 2 days, plus 3 hours today of cleanup. I'm guessing we have another 12 to 15 hours of work just to get these cut up into manageable pieces so we can get them on the log splitter and make some firewood out of it. It's gonna be a lot more work, but I believe the hardest part is obviously over, which we're excited about. Don't have to worry about this thing falling on our house anymore. The house will stay intact. Just to debrief a little bit, the most important thing I learned watching my neighbor do this was safety. He is very methodical in his approach to taking down trees, which I appreciate. You know, you can see tons of YouTube videos of people with failing, you know, with felling trees and ruining their homes or their vehicles or getting people hurt or hurting themselves. And my neighbor did not want any of that to ever happen. He wanted us to be slow and methodical to make sure this is done the right way. That's the most important thing I learned from him. Be slow and be methodical so you can be as safe as possible. Another thing I got to learn was how to tie certain knots in order to, you know, hoist things up to him when it came to tying knots around certain limbs in order to make sure they are as secure as possible. We got to do a lot of limb pulling and seeing how he utilized other limbs as like a pulley of sorts, as an anchoring point, so the larger limbs would swing towards you and away from the structure, so away from a home, away from whatever else is near you, in order to have it land specifically where you want it. This, like we said, is an art form. We really believe that. He's been doing this so long, he's so good at it, and you see that when you're watching him work. He'll just sit there and stare at the tree or stare at the limb for 5 or 10 minutes just figuring out what's the best way to do this, and I greatly appreciate that. Again, I just want to say thank you to everybody who helped out, especially my neighbor. If you're watching this, thank you. To all my friends that showed up and helped out, thank you so much. We could not have done it without you. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button and comment below. What are your thoughts about it? I mean, have you done something like this? What are some other tips you have? And like always, if you have not subscribed already, please do so. You can do so by clicking our logo down there or the big bright red button down below, and make sure you ding that bell to make sure you are signed up for notifications and know when we post a new video. Thank you so much. We'll see you all in the next video.